Imagine yourself stocking the shelves with some new books that just came in. So you walk up to the appropriate section, you look at the appropriate name, find the spot, and just shove it on the shelf, right? Wrong. When we first opened the store, I had the opportunity to work with some people from the corporate company in Nashville in the book department, so I was able to learn firsthand how to properly alphabetize the books here. And so I figured that since you were employed here as well, that this would be good knowledge to know. If you're alphabetizing one way and I'm alphabetizing another way, then obviously our alphabetizing is going to be a little bit off. So I just wanted to make it simple, how simple alphabetizing is. It's an important tool in presenting our merchandise to customers in a way that makes it most efficient for them to shop, and it helps us as employees. So, to begin this process of correct alphabetizing, we need to look at why alphabetizing is important to Lifeway Bookstore, and then the proper way to go about it. So, alphabetizing is a common skill used to bring order to chaos. In Edmund Burke's book called Reflection on the Revolution in France, he says that good order is the foundation of all things. And so especially when we're running a professional business, we really want presentation to be both effective and presentable. And so the first thing that alphabetizing does is that it helps us as employees. We are able to stock better because if I have a Francine Rivers book in my hand and you have a Francine Rivers book in your hand, then we know the appropriate place. It should be right next to each other and not on separate shelves. So that's one thing. Another thing is RTVs. When we have to send merchandise back to certain companies, then we want to know that the 8 Ted Decker books on the shelf are all there, and that 7th one is not going to be somewhere else. Then another thing is inventory. We want to have the correct number of books. If our computer says we have 2, we hope that there's 2 in the shelf where it says it's to be, and alphabetizing helps us to do that. Another really important one would be for our features and our sales. We often have to pull those quickly when we're transitioning our sales, and so we want to be able to find those as quickly as possible to be able to present those quickly. And then second, alphabetizing helps our customers get what they need, which is our main goal of this entire store. We are often embarrassed when a customer comes in and asks if we have a certain book. We look on the computer, find out that we do, and then we go to look for it on the shelf and can't find it. And so that's an embarrassing thing, but alphabetizing helps us to figure out exactly where that book is and avoids that problem. Also, another thing is that there are specific ways that Lifeway tells us to alphabetize. We can't just go ahead and alphabetize by any standard. And so, before we go into that, one of my favorite books is Alice in Wonderland by Lewis Carroll. And there's a quote in there that says, "To begin at the beginning and go till you come to the end and then stop." And there's something like that in Lifeway's SWAT or SWAT manual. And it states that all books should be merchandised left to right, then top to bottom in each 4-foot section. So if we're looking at this section, you're going to start here. Here's your beginning, go all the way to the end, and you're going to get there and stop. This little 4-foot section. Alright, and then next we're going to start the actual alphabetizing process. So right now we're looking at the fiction section, which is going to be alphabetized a lot like the Christian Living section and the women's section here. So first of all, you're going to look at the author's last name and put it in order that way. If there are multiple last names on there, because sometimes there are dual authors or even more than 2, then you're going to take that book and put it at the very end of your section. We have actually done this incorrectly in the past, but according to the SWAT manual, this is the way it's supposed to be. So even if it has Ted Decker's name on it, if it has Ted Decker and someone else, that book goes at the end. As well as books that have various authors or no author at all, those books also go at the end. Second, if there is a series, then you're going to put that series in order by number. For example, come here, cameraman.
Yeah.
Down here, where there is the Sunrise books here, then we're going to put them in order here. Sunrise 1, 2, 3, and 4. So, you're going to make sure your series are in the correct spot. And then there's also going to be standalone books, and you're going to alphabetize those by the name on them. According to an instruction manual by Nico Riley, you always eliminate a, and the at the beginning of a title. So you're going to exclude that and you're going to go to the next word. For example, here we see the skin map. You're not going to alphabetize it under T because you're going to eliminate the when you're alphabetizing, and you're just going to go straight to S. And so here we have saint, and then we're going to have skin. And that's the proper way that you alphabetize by title. So when an author has several different books that he's authored, then you're going to make sure that those books are also correctly alphabetized within their title. And then last, there are certain things that we need to look out for while we are alphabetizing. First off, sometimes authors have the same last name, but they have different first names. So make sure you pay attention to that detail and put it in the correct spot according to what their last name is. And then second, you want to go by the tag, the Lifeway tag here, instead of by just what you assume. Sometimes it says Ted Decker on here, it says something else right there. So we want to go by the tag because that's what should be in the computer. And when a customer comes up and we pull it up in the computer, we want it to be in the correct spot. For example, there are devotion books that say women's devotional books. So you want to make sure that if the tag says devotional, it's in the devotional section and you don't just shove it on women's. That will help us be able to find things when our customers come in to look for them and correctly find the correct number of things. However, there are times when you look at the tag and you are a little worried that that might not be the spot where it goes. For example, once I was alphabetizing Christian living and I came across a book about parenting and that just didn't fit the subject. So you can go over to the computer, scan that item, hit Shift and F12, and it's going to show you exactly where that book is supposed to be. And it turned out that book was actually supposed to be in parenting. And if that is the case, then you either take that book to a receiver or a manager and have them change the tag on that, and then we can shelve it appropriately. And then the last thing that you just need to know is to make sure that you are shelving in the correct area. Oftentimes we'll have books that say reference on it, but we have 4 different reference sections. So make sure you put it in the correct spot. That way we can find it better and customers can find it better. And so we've looked at the importance of alphabetizing correctly here at Lifeway, and as well as how to do so according to Lifeway standards, especially in the fiction section and Christian living section. So now we can all stalk to our heart's content and rest assured that we're putting them in right spots. So when you're tempted to just shove a book on the shelf, remember this message and know that you are benefiting yourself as well as the people that come in here for you to help when you take the time to actually shelve them correctly.